up close.
Let's get it on!
He's refereed nearly 100 world title fights. Most recently, he disqualified Mike Tyson for biting Evander Holyfield. He was also there when Lennox Lewis won after a disqualification, and he was in the ring when Oliver McCall lost it. Boxing referee Mills Lane discusses his profession between the ropes, plus something you did not know about his record as a district attorney and his career as a judge in the court of law.
That'll be the order. Good luck to you. We'll be in recess.
Up Close is up next.
From the ESPN studios in Los Angeles, here's Chris Myers.
Hi, and welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us. Our guest was the NCAA welterweight champion back in 1960. Prior to that, he was the Far East Marine Corps boxing champion. Now he's a district judge in Reno, Nevada, and a professional boxing referee. We welcome Mills Lane to the program. Nice to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Should I call you Mills, Mr. Lane, your honor?
Call me Mills. I've been that before I've been anything else.
Okay, Mills it will be. How often have you seen the replays of Mike Tyson biting Evander Holyfield's ear?
I've seen the clips probably 10 or 12 times. I haven't seen the whole fight yet. It's been taped for me, and I'm going to watch it and critique myself and see what I could have done better. But I've only seen the bite itself quite a few times because it's been on television from time to time.
Does it change your view at all the more you see it?
The only thing that I did wrong, and I made a mistake in that fight, was that when he bit him the first time, right away when I saw it was a bite, I said he bit him, he's disqualified. And I shouldn't have said that because I hadn't thought it through yet. Mark Ratner, our executive director, who's a great one, got up on the ring apron and he asked me, he says, Mills, do you want to disqualify him? And I thought, wait a minute, let's find out where we are. So I had Flip Womansky, the doctor, came up on the ring apron. I said, Flip, take a look. I want to know how bad it is. He took a look and he came back and he says, Mills, he can fight. He can go on. I said, okay, 2 points, going to cost you 2 points. Told Holyfield's corner, it's going to cost him 2 points. Holyfield was ready to go. Put the mouthpiece back in, they went back in, about 20 seconds or so, they went in close. I saw something happen, Holyfield jumped back again, and I looked around, I looked back, I saw a little mark, and then a couple of more punches and the bell rung. And I looked at it again, I could see another bite. So I said, that's it, you're gone.
So you didn't actually see the second bite as it was taking place?
No, I had to look around, and you could see the actual marks in the ear. Right.
And your reaction, you've seen biting before in the ring at different levels, but never like this.
I've never seen anybody get bitten. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But I have never seen anything like this. It was bizarre. It was just outside of protocol, outside of good order, if you will.
You were shocked?
Yes, I was.
And what'd you say to Mike Tyson?
Well, I went to the corner, and I said, that's going to cost you 2 points, and he said it was a punch. And I said, bullshit, you bit him. And so then he didn't say anything after that. Then I went back to Holyfield's corner and said, I'm taking 2. Now, Holyfield's people wanted a DQ, and you can make a big case for it.
After the first biting?
And you can make a big case for that.
So you really considered that? That could have been the call? It
could have been, and I didn't, and the way things turned out, I think it was better to let it go on and see it happen again, although you can make a hell of a case for chasing him after the first one.
Any hesitation in not disqualifying him after that second bite because of the magnitude of it? Maybe just saying, hey, I'm giving you one more warning.
Nope, that was it. That was it. He was gone then.
Were you Mike's reaction afterwards? He said you're out.
When I disqualified him, he didn't do anything for a minute. He stood in the corner, and Rich Giacchetti, who was a first-class corner guy, didn't say anything. They just stood there. And I walked back to the neutral corner, and I was standing there with Mark Ratner, and then Mike Tyson went kind of berserk, and he was chased across the ring, tried to get to Holyfield, and they tried to hold him back, and then things developed into kind of a melee. Now, the hotel security and the Metro Police Department of Las Vegas did a heck of a job keeping contained a situation which could have been a lot worse, so they did a good job.
Yeah, because the crowd kind of became unruly at that point as well. Any argument to the headbutting dispute that Evander Holyfield was using his head too much on Mike Tyson, because that's what his corner claims?
Well, their styles, both of them keep their hands up high and their heads down. Their styles make for unintentional clashes of heads. That goes with the territory in boxing. I do not believe that there was an intentional headbutt. There's no question, in my view, the cut was caused by a head, just like Holyfield could have been cut by Tyson for that matter, although that didn't happen. But it was unintentional, and that kind of goes with boxing, professional prize fighting, if you will, the clash of heads. So that's not an excuse.
Well, what if Tyson argued, Mills, and said, hey, my biting was unintentional, I slipped, or...
Well, he bit intentionally.
You could tell. But if the headbutting continued, even though it's unintentional, would you have to warn Evander at some point?
Well, what you do is you recognize the butt, and you say, you boys watch the heads, both of you guys, you watch the heads. Then you tell the commission that was a butt. The reason you do that is because at the end of 4 rounds, you go to the scorecards, and whoever's ahead can win. Now, if it's an intentional butt, you cause a cut with an intentional butt, you cannot win, you lose. If the other person is behind on the scorecards, then it's called a technical draw. But you can get disqualified for an intentional butt, but that's not what happened.
You refereed, what, 97 different world title fights. In this one, you were actually a last-minute replacement because Tyson's people didn't like Mitch Halpern and complained. He was forced out. Did you have a choice about, did you want this fight? When you look back, do you look at the irony of it all?
Well, I don't broker for fights. I think it's wrong to ask for them. I don't do that. My commission assigns me. When my commission asked me would I be available, I said, yes, I'm available if you want to assign me. So I got assigned. I think Mitch Halpern would have done an outstanding job. He's an outstanding referee. And he would have made whatever call he deemed appropriate. But as I say, I don't reject fights, and I don't broker for them. I take my assignment.
How has this changed? You've been on Larry King, you've been on Jay Leno, on Up Close. How has this changed Mills Lane, this incident?
Well, it hadn't changed me, I hope, at all. I mean, I'm still a country boy that works hard and does the best I can with what I got. But it has piqued the interest of people. But I think in a couple of weeks, I mean, it'll be just something happened yesterday.
Are you amazed, though, of the reaction to what happened in this fight worldwide? The thoughts on boxing, on Tyson, on Holyfield?
I think that the reaction has been something beyond my wildest expectations or imagination. I think the focus has been quite big. I think it will die down. But Mike Tyson is a big story. He's big in athletics. He's big in the discipline of professional prize fighting. So I think that eventually the thing will die down. But right now, it's still pretty interesting.
The Nevada Athletic Commission penalizing him $3 million, the 1-year suspension.
Well, it's not a 1-year suspension. They revoked his license. And whether or not he gets back is up to question now. The commission we have a strong commission. We have a great executive director and a strong commission. It's not written in stone that he's going to get back in a year. He's going to apply. It depends upon what he does between now and that year as whether or not he gets back.
Would you like to see him back?
Well, that's not my call. It's the commission's call. But I do think this. I think if he gets his act squared away, tends to business, get whatever help he needs to get, and prove that he can get it together, maybe he ought to have another shot. But if he doesn't do those things, then our commission will do what I think is appropriate.
When you say help, are you talking about psychiatric help?
Well, that's what he says he needs. I don't know what his problems are. I never get close to the fighters, the cut men, the trainers, or the managers. I don't want to be close to those people because you got to make a tough call against them. You got to make the call you got to make. But Mike Tyson himself suggested that he's got some type of problem that he has to be dealt with on a psychiatric basis.
Was the punishment as harsh as it should have been?
Well, you know what? I don't know that I can answer that question fairly because as a referee, I've got no business second-guessing our commission. Our commission did what they thought they should do. The members did, and I respect that. So I don't have any comment on that.
You had worked 7 other Tyson fights, I believe, or 6?
See, I did Berbick, Tucker, Smith, Razor Ruddock 2, McNeely, and Bruno. 6 other fights before this one.
And I think only 2 previous times did you have to deduct or penalize Mike Tyson, correct?
I penalized him in the Razor Ruddock fight twice. I never had to penalize him before.
And what did you notice different about Mike this time in this fight? Or did you notice?
I didn't notice anything different. I thought he was in great shape. When I gave him the instruction in the dressing room, he seemed very focused. He had his business face on. It was, I told him, I said, now I don't want any rough stuff in there. I expect you to tend to business. And he said, yes, sir. And I expect you, when the bell rings, to stop punching and go back to your corner. He said, yes, sir. So he was very focused. I didn't say anything.
All right, we'll continue with Mills Lane. We'll ask him if Tyson Holyfield fight again, does he want to referee that bout? We'll take a look at Mills' boxing career. Also talk to him about a couple of other strange bouts that he was involved with. We're including Oliver McCall and Lennox Lewis in that group. We'll have more from Los Angeles in a moment.
My daughter's my princess.
Will you wait for me?
She always calls me. I ask her to use 1-800-COLLECT. It saves up to 44%.
I'd love to hear her voice.
Dial 1-800-COLLECT. They love to hear from you.
It's America's most prestigious beer festival. Who won the gold medal for the best tasting American premium lager? Original Coors. Taste the one that won for taste.
Dear Dave, we were coming home from the track the other day and saw Wendy's Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger was back, so I bought a bunch of them for the boys. Man, was it delicious. 3 strips of hickory smoked bacon, smoked cheddar, savory sauce, and sauteed onions. And they made them fresh when I ordered them, so they were hot and juicy. Stop by sometime and I'll show you the new car. Your buddy, Dale Jarrett.
Dear Dale, that'd be great. I'd love to take it for a spin.
He's kidding, right?
Come into Wendy's and try our Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger today.
Did you hear it?
Event Horizon is as intense as Alien.
It knows my fears.
And as truly frightening as The Exorcist.
Be with me.
It's a one-way ticket to terror. Cutting edge and pulse pounding. This is the scariest movie you'll ever see.
God help us.
Event Horizon. Rated R. Starts Friday, August 15th everywhere.
This is Barry Sanders Field. Where he learned to run. Where we learned his moves. He spins, he jukes.
He's like crazy, you know. Barry used to play flag football. He said if someone can't grab your flag,
there's no way they'll ever be able to tackle you.
he's like a pinball.
This is Barry Sanders Field, where we learn to play.
Football is football no matter where you play.
Welcome back to Up Close. Thanks for staying with us. We're talking with boxing referee Mills Lane, who has refereed 97 different professional title fights. And we talked about the bizarre Tyson Holyfield bout. Back on July 12th, you were also in the ring when Henry Akamwande fought Lennox Lewis, and again, a disqualification in this one. What happened? Well,
I thought Akamwande seemed to be intimidated to me. He grabbed, he held, he grabbed, he held, and the kid can fight. I mean, the kid can really fight, but it's just too bad that he didn't want to make a fight of it. And there comes, I'll tell you one thing about boxing. If you tell a guy, you do that again, I'm going to chase you, you got no choice. They do that again, they're gone.
You have to do it.
If you don't, you've got no control at all. And I think that's too, you cannot let that happen.
But don't you worry, this was in the 5th round. If you said the guy can fight, don't you worry that maybe you're calling it too early?
Well, you know, you make the call you make, and you hope you're right. If you're saying, could it have been a mistake? Sure.
Right. Have you made a mistake calling a fight too early in your mind?
I don't think I made a mistake calling one too early, because I saw a couple of kids die, and, you know, you can call them too late, but I don't think you can call them too early.
There was another bizarre, in February, bizarre bout when Oliver McCall, again, was fighting Lennox Lewis. And this one, I don't know if it was a disqualification, but at one moment he was in tears, he was talking, it looked like he had just freaked out in the ring.
You know, I think that Oliver McCall had some type of a mental breakdown. I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a mental health expert, but something happened to him in that fight, and he just was not able to get it on that night. He just couldn't do it.
When this was going on, what were you thinking? Did you question him, talk to people in his corner?
I went to at the end of the 3rd or 4th round, I went to his corner, I think the 3rd round. I got on one knee in front of him, and I said, young man, I said, something's wrong with you. Do you want to fight? And he looked up at me, and his tears were coming down his eyes, his lips were quivering. He says, I've got to fight. I've got to fight. So I said, okay, we'll try one more time. He got out. Lewis came at him with a good right hand. He went back to the ropes, didn't do anything, hit him again, didn't do anything. I said, okay, that's it. That's enough. Something was wrong with him. I don't know what it was.
Well, of all the fights you had over the years, I mean, to have this run in the last few, what has been the most bizarre? Was it the Tyson ear biting?
Well, the most bizarre, I think, probably was the mental breakdown of Oliver McCall, but certainly the thing that stepped outside of protocol, I call it playing between the lines. Going outside the lines, if you will, was the biting of Evander Holyfield by Michael Tyson.
Yeah, now when you talk about staying within the lines, it's like within the law. You're also, you've been a district attorney. You were for many years. You've been a district judge in Reno, Nevada since 1990, I believe. What are the similarities or the differences in helping the two jobs?
Great question and great things. Fighter is to DA as referee is to judge. When I was a fighter, I was an advocate for me. When I was a district attorney, I was an advocate for the people. Now, as a referee, I'm an arbiter in a case of controversy, the most basic of controversies. And in a court, I'm a referee in a case of controversy, if you will, esoteria, legalisms, and all the theoretical crap sometimes that goes along with it. But I mean, it's still the whole concept of being an arbiter is different than being an advocate.
Right, but do you, and how much money, you made $10,000 for the Tyson-Holyfield fight, but what did you make in the early days of refereeing boxing?
Well, in the early days, in the 70s, Sammy Macias and I used to go to Lake Tahoe for $12.50 and plus $5 for gas.
$12.50, that's it.
Total, for the whole card.
Right, so now
we had a heck of a time.
All right, so now you're doing well. So why still, you're 59 years old, you're a judge, why still dabble in this boxing, especially after seeing the Tyson thing?
Well, you know, boxing was good to me. It got me through college, it got me in law school, and it was a big part of my life. And when I walked away from it as a fighter, I didn't want to just walk away. So I took up refereeing as a hobby. But I know that Mother Nature is a great equalizer. There'll be a time when it's going to be time for me to pack it in. It's not too very far away. So when I can no longer do it the way I think it ought to be done, I'm going to be gone.
Is it hard to remain impartial as a judge or a referee?
We all have our little petty biases and prejudices. People that say they don't are lying to you. But when you put the bow tie on in refereeing, and we put the black robe on the bench, you leave those in the dressing room and leave them in chambers. And you do the best you can as a human being to be upfront and fair. That's the best you can do. But anybody who tells you that he or she doesn't have the little petty feelings are just lying to you.
All right, as a county district attorney back in 1982, from that time on, you successfully prosecuted 22 out of 22 murder cases. And where were you during O.J., by the way? We could have used you.
Well, I wasn't here for O.J., but I tried 22 people for murder.
That's a pretty good record.
Yeah, I had about 18 cases, 22 defendants. Well, you know, I got my ears back and got after it. But in other cases, I didn't have a perfect record. You show me a prosecutor who bragged about his or her perfect record, I see somebody not trying enough of them.
Well, no, but I brought it up because if you were not a defense attorney, but could you, and I get the impression by talking to you, I know the answer to this question, but could you, and I love this question when it comes to asking lawyers, could you defend someone if you knew they were guilty?
In my gut, I believe that the system has to work. Could Mills Lane defend somebody that he knew did it? No. But I believe that person's entitled to make the king's men, make the government, come on with the evidence. Me personally, I have a hard time with that. That's why it was easier for me being a prosecutor, because the prosecutor can compromise a case, can dismiss it, can say it shouldn't have been brought, can do a lot of those things. I've done that when I thought, wait a minute, we charged this case too tough. You have that luxury. Defense counsel doesn't have that luxury.
Have you made a mistake as a judge and realized it later?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I have a case, and I'll say, I make a decision, and I'll say, you know, I'm not sure that was right. Do some research. Tell my secretary, says, get the lawyers back in there. I want to revisit that issue. Get the lawyers back and say, folks, made a mistake here. I'm going to change it. You know, we've got races on pencils.
Right. I have a problem with what I think are too many frivolous lawsuits today. We live in a sue-happy society. Sure. Everybody has that right. But where do we draw the line when people sue and try to put the responsibility for their error on somebody else?
So what you do is this. When you get a case that's clearly frivolous, there's what you call Rule 11 sanctions. First off, the judge should dismiss the case, and then you should get in the lawyer's pocket for bringing the case frivolously. Now, I'm saying that you've got to be right on that, but Rule 11 is not used enough. It should be used more, and judges, I lay that on the judges. Judges have got to recognize cases that are frivolous, chase them off, and sanction the attorneys for bringing them.
All right, and when the attorneys, if they're not ready, when you're ready to go at 8:45 in the morning, what do you do?
$25 fine. If the lawyers come late, now, if they pick the phone up because they got a problem, I can live with that. Everybody has problems, but if they just come one ring in late, $25 fine to the Washoe County Law Library Fund. The first year I was on the bench, we bought a lot of books for the library. Last couple of years, we haven't bought a one.
Well, that's good. You're straightening him out. We'll continue. He's tough in the ring. He's tough in the courtroom. We're with Mills Lane, veteran referee, also a judge.
What I'm going to do is this. I'm not going to put you in jail. I want you to know that going in. But I tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, you ought to be ashamed of what you've done.
Music Express, voted #1 by the National Limousine Association, has offices in Los Angeles and on the East Coast. Music Express can handle your corporate needs anywhere in the U.S. and worldwide. And guests of Up Close stay at the Beverly Prescott, L.A.'s premier boutique hotel. Call your travel agent to make reservations at the Beverly Prescott, a Kimpton hotel.
Honey, take a look at this.
Quick, get the camera.
The camera. Baby, I don't see nothing.
Check over there, baby. Just check over there.
I can't find nothing, baby.
Genius.
Baby, there ain't nothing here.
Hurry up, will you just hurry?
I can't find it.
Get anything. Get something. Get a camcorder.
Baby, we ain't got no camcorder.
No faster, more advanced way to capture life's most incredible moments.
The Home Shopping Network. We have what you want.
The hippest sound in the hippest town. Comcast Jazz in the Park. Thursdays at 7 p.m. this summer in Riverside Gardens Park, Red Bank. The forecast calls for a cool summer. Enough said.
Program motors in the Michigan where speed is king. It's one track Gordon hasn't conquered. Martin and Jared plan to keep it that way. Come along for the ride. The ITW DeVille Biz 400, Sunday at 12:30 on ESPN.
Later on SportsCenter, New York experiences the second coming of Hideki Irabu. Will Joe Sakic seek the lights of Broadway or roll with the Avalanche? And KG's agent tells the Timberwolves bye-bye. Join us for full details after Up Close.
Hope you'll be with us on Thursday. We'll go up close with Chris Everett, talk about her tremendous career and talk about Martina of her day and the Martina of today. And then on Friday, it's Deion Sanders. Prime Time does a little up-close time. We'll talk about his Cowboy and Reds playing days. And this program reminder, Thursday night, 10 Eastern, 10 Pacific, it's Tyson Holyfield 2. Must-see TV, must-hear TV. Check ABC, your local listing. You'll see the entire fight. When we continue more on Tyson Holyfield with Mills Lane, the referee who was in the middle of all that. We'll talk about him as a boxer.
Yo, it's time for the experts to teach you how to dunk.
Excuse me?
These experts.
The great deal on McDonald's Chicken McNuggets is back.
Dunk it with authority.
Grab 6 while they're just 99 cents.
I'm not going to take it easy on you. Okay.
9 McNuggets for only $1.59.
Go on, girlfriend.
Score 20 for just $2.99.
You're the man, ma'am.
Chicken McNuggets are in a league of their own.
At my McDonald's.
If you give the world a chance to, it'll swallow you up. And sometimes you're nothing but alone. So you gotta have a plan. You gotta be a Superman. Do some good for the world. Even though sometimes you'll be bad. And that way, you and the world can reach a mutual agreement. You know what I'm saying?
Tonight, Bagwell and Biggio, Lone Star Lumberjacks, hacking their way to the top of the NL Central. They'll get it on with the Marlins at 7:30. Then at 10:30, as the chase heats up in the West, Mike Piazza and the Boys in Blue set their sights on another division crown. They'll mingle with Montreal in Dodger country. Marlins Astros at 7:30, Expos Dodgers at 10:30. The Wednesday doubleheader, tonight on ESPN.
He's a boxing referee. He's also a judge. But before all that, Mills Lane was a fighter himself, 60-4 as an amateur, 11-1 as a pro. What do you take from your boxing experience that you apply now when you're a referee?
Well, I think you can be a referee without having been a fighter. But I think it's better if you work. When you see a kid really get nailed, you know, when you get your bell rung, you know what's going on. You know when you see a kid having trouble, you know. I mean, you just know because you've been there. So I think it's helpful to have been a fighter.
What's the best Mills Lane story in the ring that you tell people when you fought?
When I fought, I was fighting this kid from L.A. one time. It was just Dick Smith, nice guy, tough kid, a black kid from Watts. And I got in close and I gave him underneath. Wham! I heard him go. Ugh. I get in close and I says, "Hey man, you're going to have to fight me all night, and might as well quit right now." He says, "Okay, white boy." What? Man, that was a long night.
Who won the fight?
I got my hand raised, but if he'd have raised his, it'd have been okay with me. It was a hell of a fight.
All right. No, you were a Marine. You fought as a Marine, and, of course, a lot of great Marines. Ed McMahon, Jim Mora, F. Lee Bailey. Well, so maybe 2 out of 3 isn't bad. But you say you're I kid. All right, I kid because I care, Mills. That's okay. All right, so you say you're a former Marine, never an ex-Marine. Why do you say that? And this is we had you fighting as a Marine.
All Marines are former Marines. If you're in the Corps, you're never an ex-Marine, you're a former Marine, always.
And do you apply that? Did the discipline as a Marine, did that help you become a better fighter?
It helped me, and I went to the Marine Corps right out of high school. It's the best thing I ever did. It helped me discipline me, helped me going to school, it helped me as a fighter. You learn discipline, you learn how to tend to business. And without that discipline, see, on the IQ test, I'm average. I mean, I can't help that. But I'll outwork you. That's the name of the game, outworking other folks.
And why 11-1 as a pro, why did you get out at such an early stage?
You know, boxing was good to me, but when I got my degree, I got out. I got hit too much. I mean, you break your arm, you get that fixed. You break that, you don't get that fixed. My time came to get out, I got out.
All right, we'll continue with Mills Lane. We'll ask him about how we can make boxing a safer sport and also his thoughts on, again, if Tyson and Holyfield do fight one more time. We're up close with Mills Lane. We'll have more in a moment. Don't go away.
Satisfy up to 40 people, or just one. Blimpie, it's a beautiful thing.
What would you give to be more confident? What would you give for the knowledge it takes to move with certainty through every business day?
Just $3.90 a week brings you the Wall Street Journal. Our personal finance guide and decision maker software is free with your paid 10-week subscription. Call now, 800-443-7400. That's 800-443-7400 for the Wall Street Journal.
Paul Tracy, the early season leader. Alex Zanardi, a late season rush. Now, it gets interesting. The Texaco Haviland 200, Sunday at 3:30 on ESPN.
We have a couple of minutes left with referee Mills Lane, also a judge. I'm going to come visit you in your courtroom sometime. Can I do that?
Down.
Just going to watch, like to see it in action. If Holyfield Tyson fight again, would you like to officiate, referee that?
If I'm assigned. I mean, I don't broker for fights. If I'm assigned, I'd be happy to do it. Depends upon the assignment.
Would you like to see him fight again?
I don't know. I don't know if Evander Holyfield will fight him again. I'm not even sure Mike Tyson will fight again. He's not been relicensed yet. Until that happens, I don't think we know the answer to that.
How can we make boxing safer? There have been arguments for headgear. You talked about the pounding that the head takes.
Headgear will stop the cuts, but it will not stop the probability or the possibility of getting dementia, because the head, the brain will still move around. I don't know that you can make it a lot safer. What I would like to see is make people be closer to weight. I think weighing in the day before, you drive people out too much. I'd like to see the weight be more closer to the time of the fight. That's my personal preference. When I fought, if you fought at 8 o'clock at night, you had to make weight at noon. Now they make weight the day before. Physiologically, I don't think that's good, drying kids out to get them down and then putting it back on them. I'd like to see that happen. And some other things that I think can be done, but right now I'm going to wait.
You'll save those for your book, which you'll give me an advance copy of.
Yeah.
You have said that a fighter who doesn't take care of himself, that's what bothers you more than anything.
Yep.
Give me an example of guys over the years that you appreciated, that those that have, and some of those that have wasted their talent.
The best pure fighter I ever saw, pure fighter, was Roberto Duran. But the reason he can never be, to me, a complete professional, he'd go from 135 to 190 between fights. He abused his tools. A fighter's tool to his body. You don't abuse your tools. People that don't take care of business, fighters have an office. The office is the road and the gym. You go to your office every day. You take 1 day a week off, maybe, and 1 vacation a year. The guys that impressed me over the years were Marvin Hagler. He never got more than 65 or 66. Ray Leonard. Go guys that took care of business, stayed in shape. Those were the true professionals in my view.
You said years ago at 60 you'd retire. You're within a year of that. Yeah. How about if you decide to step down? Would you like to step in and maybe, if there's a commission, a federal boxing commission that oversees and helps to bring the sport together, would you like to have a position like that?
Oh, if such thing came to pass, I certainly would consider
Should they have it? Do they need it?
Nevada doesn't. States with good, strong commissions don't. States with no commission has to have some basic fundamental bottom line, if you will. Now there are some standards set in the federal legislation that just went into effect July, so there are minimum standards. We don't need an overall commission in states like Nevada, I mean California, New York, New Jersey, but the other states may could use some help. Sure, I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested in color commentating. I mean, I don't want to just walk away from the discipline, but you know, Mother Nature's a great equalizer. When the time comes to go, you got to go.
All right, well, we'll watch closely. Come see us again. It was fun having you on the program. We'll look for you in the ring and in the courtroom.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Mr. Mills Lane, the judge and the referee, we appreciate him being with us here on Up Close, and thank you, too, for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.